What has governed your reality up until now challenges every belief you have. It is not the work of chance, nor of karma, nor of a universe intent on testing you. The truth lies in an invisible code, a silent vibrational law that determines every aspect of your existence with absolute precision. The financial flow, the cycles of relationships, the patterns that repeat themselves. Nothing is arbitrary, everything is frequency resonance. Thoth traced its principles millennia ago, aware that the visible world is but the shadow of a superior energetic architecture, a knowledge guarded for those who are ready to exercise its government. Your presence here is not accidental. You have already entered the morphogenetic field of this knowledge. Today, you will discover why reality obeys not your desires, but your vibrational signature, and why this truth has been omitted from educational systems, spiritual doctrines, and even personal growth treatises. If these words have resonated in your inner space, even if only a thrill of recognition, mark this initiatory pact. A like as an act of cosmic resonance, a comment, I remember, to seal the cellular memory, an inscription as an alliance between conscious seekers. This is not passive listening, but co-creation, because what is in tune attracts, and what is mature converges. To you, traveler between the worlds, may your every step be a writing of light, your every pause an act of power. We will meet again, as always happens, at the point where frequencies recognize each other. Stay until the last frame. We will not talk about positive thinking, but about conscious energy engineering. Those who decipher this code cease to escape from the matrix. They learn to modulate its parameters from within. No mystery will remain veiled when what pulses in silence begins to resonate through you. What is silent inside will resonate loudly outside. Have you noticed that there are days when everything flows and other days when nothing works, even though you do the exact same things? It's not a coincidence, it's energy, but not the kind of energy you hear about on social media as if it's a vague idea. I'm talking about something real, deep, ancient. The scribe of Thoth recorded in his teachings that the universe is not static, it is not external, and it never responds to brute force of will. Responds to the vibration within. In the silence of your being is where the world begins to change. This is the truth that separates the awakened from the distracted. You do not command reality with thought, you command it with state. The ancient Egyptians knew this. They did not make requests to the gods like beggars. They aligned themselves vibrationally with what they wanted to experience. They were initiated into the art of energetic coherence. And that is exactly what you must begin to understand. Now, there is a space between what you think and what you feel. That space is the command point. That is where the universe listens to you. That is where your vibration organizes itself and begins to interfere silently and precisely with the invisible flows that shape what you call life. Thoth called this field the will of the heart, a subtle fusion of conscious direction, thought, and emotional magnetism, feeling. And he said that when the fire of the heart and the command of the mind walk together, the worlds bend. Have you ever thought about what that means? You can repeat mantras all day. You can fill the wall with positive quotes. You can even deeply desire for your life to change. But if fear, lack, insecurity still vibrates inside, that is what you will attract. The universe, as Thoth revealed, does not respond to verbal requests. It responds to existential frequency. As long as you vibrate as someone who is waiting, you will continue to attract waiting. The vibration of absence is a command. The universe understands. This person is on the frequency of the have-not, so he obeys. Now, when you vibrate as someone who already is, who already has, who breathes with the certainty that the invisible is already moving in your favor, you activate the frequency of I already am, and the universe still obeys. This is what Thoth meant when he wrote, like attracts like. What is above is like what is below, and what is inside governs what is outside. Do you really understand what that means? It's not just a pretty phrase, it's a vibrational code. Your external reality is shaped minute by minute by the internal state you maintain. Not when you meditate, but when you are distracted, when you walk, when you breathe, when you are yourself. What do you feel when no one is watching? What is the emotion that lives deep in your body as you go about your daily tasks? That feeling is the vibration that controls everything. It is what activates or blocks the code. And now I want you to experience it. Don't just listen, feel it, do it. Because this code doesn't reveal itself to those who just listen. It activates in those who vibrate. Stop now for a few seconds. Take a deep breath. Choose an area of your life that seems blocked, the one that bothers you the most. Notice what you feel when you think about it: fear, anger, injustice. Now change your perspective. Choose a phrase that represents the exact opposite, not something generic, something that states with conviction what you want to hear. For example, I always struggle to have money becomes: abundance is already flowing in my field, even before it physically arrives. Now close your eyes, breathe deeply, and feel. Don't think, feel. Imagine how you would walk if it were already true. How you would sit, how you would look at the world, how your body would feel. That is the I already am frequency. That vibration is the command point, the secret that has been hidden for centuries, but that Thoth never stopped recording. He wrote it only in symbols because he knew that only the ready would be able to read it. And now that you have access to this, there is no going back to the old way of being. You have activated the center, and from here on, you will understand how this center strengthens, how it expands until your very presence begins to reorganize reality around you. The inversion code, the exercise that activates the new frequency. And now that the command point has been activated, it is time to enter one of the most ignored and yet most transformative codes of the entire vibrational journey, the inversion code. This code is not a metaphorical idea. It is a portal, a vibrational key that turns inside your field and changes the way your energy behaves. And yes, it requires something of you. It requires that for a few moments you let go of everything you believe to be real, so you can experience what truly has the power to shape your reality. Feeling, not automatic feeling, conditioned by fear or anxiety or frustration, but intentional feeling, the kind that emits, that spreads, that creates. Because while most people live as if life is happening to them, those who access this code understand that life responds to them. That the universe is not out there deciding what happens, but in here reflecting what you vibrate. That is why now you will do something simple, but that carries an ancestral power, an exercise that was taught symbolically in the mystery schools of Egypt, hidden under layers of metaphors and archetypes, but that Thoth translated clearly. For the external world to bend, the internal world must be reversed. Let's begin. Choose now, without thinking too much, an area of your life where the energy seems blocked, the one that does not seem to move no matter how hard you try. It could be money, love, health, purpose. Take a deep breath, bring it to the surface, and be honest. How do you mentally describe it? Maybe it is something like, I never have enough money, I am always rejected, nothing I do works, I feel disconnected, lost. Now write the opposite, but not as a wish. Write it as a living affirmation, as if it already is, as if it is already happening right now. Transform the sentence with the energy of someone who has already arrived. Money finds me easily. I am loved exactly as I am. Everything I do thrives naturally. I feel connected, guided, and at peace. Close your eyes. And here's the most important part. Don't think. Don't try to rationalize. Don't analyze whether it makes sense or feels true. Because if you do, you're stuck in the old frequency. And the code only opens when you go beyond the mind and into the body. So just feel with your whole body. Imagine what it would be like to live this new reality, not as a dream, but as if it were now, as if you woke up today in this new version of your life. How would you breathe? What would your body be like in this state? What would be the rhythm of your voice, your presence, your gaze? Feel it move in your chest. Feel it in your hands. Feel how your body responds. Maybe a lightness, maybe warmth, maybe an involuntary smile. That is real. It is your field adjusting. It is the vibration aligning to a new frequency. You are no longer just thinking about a new life. You are vibrating from it. And here is the secret that the ancients knew, but that almost no one understands today. The energy field does not respond to your logic. It responds to your vibrational signature. And that signature is made of feeling, of vivid imagination, of internal conviction. Thoth said that the initiate was one who could sit on the inner throne and command without words, and the throne is not the mind. The throne is the body vibrating in a state of sovereignty. This is the code of inversion, the reversal of perspective, the reversal of identity, the reversal of flow. You are no longer waiting for something to change to feel different. You feel different, and the world begins to change. And what you just felt is only the beginning, the entry code. Because now that your vibration has started to shift, we need to go further. We need to understand how this frequency is structured, how it takes shape, how it becomes tangible reality. The next step is to discover the invisible core that builds your field. And once you understand how this energetic architecture works, nothing that was before will remain the same. What you just felt was real, a turning point. But that state can only be sustained if it is anchored to a structure. And this is where most people stumble. They believe that all it takes is a few moments of vibration for everything to change. But energy doesn't obey fleeting impulses. It organizes itself into patterns, and those patterns must be supported by a coherent internal field. Thoth taught this in the Greater Mysteries. He said that every initiate must know the architecture of his own temple. But the temple he was referring to wasn't made of stone. It was made of energy. Your body is a vibrational temple, and like any sacred temple, it has specific levels, chambers, directions, and alignments. The field you emit is not a chaotic cloud. It has order, layers, and rhythms. What you feel, what you think, and the way you breathe are shaping this invisible structure every moment. But if these three centers are out of alignment, what you create is distortion. You emit a fragmented, weak, unstable frequency. It's like trying to build a bridge out of materials that don't fit together. The structure won't hold, and the result is that you feel like you're trying, and nothing flows. Most people live in this state. They want one thing, they think another, and they feel another. They want prosperity, but they feel guilt. They want love, but they vibrate abandonment. They ask for lightness, but they breathe in a state of alertness. And the energy field, which is sensitive, just reflects that inner conflict. That's why things get stuck. Thoth called this fragmentation vibrational noise. He said, "He who has not mastered his own inner music cannot conduct any symphony in the world." Now listen carefully. That noise is not your fault. It has been cultivated in you since childhood. You have been exposed to confusing messages. You have been taught to hide your feelings, to mold yourself to expectations, to silence your intuition. Over time, that disconnect has become routine. And when you try to vibrate something new, you find no coherence. The mind doubts, the body contracts, emotion sabotages. But the good news is that this can be rearranged. Your field can realign, and when that happens, everything changes. Because in that state, reality stops resisting. It begins to respond. In the next step, you will be guided through an ancient exercise used from the initiatory schools of Egypt to the subtle temples of the East. A simple yet powerful exercise that can reprogram your entire field in minutes. Because now that you know the structure, it's time to activate it. How to access the vibrational state of the Creator. Now that you understand the invisible structure of your field, it's time to cross the threshold and consciously access the state of coherence. What the ancients called rite was not just a symbolic ritual, it was a deep vibrational alignment, and it always started in the same place. Presence. Sit. Not as someone waiting for something external to happen. Sit as someone who has taken the inner throne. Place one hand in the center of your chest. It doesn't matter if it's the right or the left. What matters is that your gesture declares, "I return to my center." because this is where the field reorganizes itself. Now close your eyes for a moment, take a deep breath. Inhale for a count of 5. Hold the breath inside you. Feel the suspension. Hold it for 5 seconds. Now exhale for a count of 5. Notice what happens. Repeat this cycle 2 more times. Take your time, as if time has stopped in this moment. Don't force it. Just be. In this moment, your mind starts to calm down. Your body starts to slow down. But what really matters is what is happening in the field. And here's the key. As you breathe, remember a single moment, one that carries an authentic vibration. It can be a moment of true love, deep gratitude, inner strength. It doesn't have to be something grand, just real. Maybe you remember a hug, a personal victory, a moment when you felt connected to something bigger. Relive it now, not with your thoughts, but with your body. Feel that memory expand like a warm wave that starts in the center of your chest and spreads outward. Let it fill your abdomen, your shoulders, your head. That feeling is your key. This is the turning point where you stop emitting fragments and start vibrating in a unified way. You may feel warmth in your chest, a slight tingling in your hands, the desire to smile for no reason. Don't ignore it. It is the field responding. It is you who leaves survival mode and enters creation mode. This state is rare. Few enter it, not because it is difficult, but because they have been taught to look for power outside. And the state of the Creator has always been within. The ancients knew this. They called this moment alignment with the divine power within. Not a God outside of you, but the spark that radiates from you when you are complete. Thoth taught that the true magician does not perform magic. He is the vibration of creation itself. And this only happens when the being vibrates in full coherence. In this moment, you are not just thinking positively. You are shaping the fabric of reality with your frequency. And here is where something subtle but powerful happens. The field begins to obey you. People begin to treat you differently. Doors open. Situations rearrange themselves, not through effort, but through resonance. You have become an ordered field in the midst of chaos, a coherent emitter in a noisy world. But now comes the real test, because this state, as powerful as it is not self-sustaining. Most people feel it for a few minutes, and then everything goes back to normal. The frequency drops, the field disorganizes, and everything seems to go back to square one. And this is where the next challenge emerges. Your basic vibration point, the famous set point, that unconscious frequency that you live in most of the time. And that is sabotaging everything without you realizing it. This set point is like the invisible thermostat of your reality. It doesn't matter how high you try to vibrate for a few moments. If your field is still programmed for scarcity, insecurity, or struggle, you will be pulled back. And this is what you will learn to reprogram now. Because it doesn't take a few minutes to access the creator state. What transforms your life is learning to live in it. But it doesn't take much to reach a high state if a few minutes later you're back to vibrating as usual. This is where the greatest silent saboteur of your reality comes into play. The vibrational set point, the invisible code that governs everything when you're not looking. This base point is not a conscious choice. It was built over the years without you realizing it. Every time you were told you weren't enough, that you had to try harder, that life was hard, every frustration you silently swallowed, every fear you normalized, every pain you pretended to forget, all of this has registered a pattern. Like an invisible thermostat, it defines how far your energy can go before it is pulled back into the known. And that known is tricky, because it can be uncomfortable, but it is familiar. And the unconscious mind prefers the familiar discomfort to the liberating unknown. That is why you do an expansion exercise. You feel a wave of power. It feels like everything is about to change. And the next day, you are back in anxiety, in lack, in waiting. It is not a lack of faith. It is not laziness. It is your vibrational set point pulling you back like a magnet. Thoth knew this in the Hermetic texts. He left a teaching that few understood. That which is below is as that which is above. And this is not just speaking of the macrocosm and the microcosm. Also talk about what you feel when you are present and what you vibrate when you are not. The coherence between those two worlds is true energetic mastery. So stop and notice. What do you feel when you are not paying attention? When no one is looking? When you are in traffic, in the shower, scrolling on your phone? That subtle feeling, that underlying emotion that you carry without thinking about it, is what is shaping your reality. You might say you want abundance, but if your set point vibrates worry, you continue to attract scarcity. You can repeat powerful affirmations, but if your natural frequency vibrates insecurity, the universe only hears what is actually being broadcast, and the universe responds to who you are on autopilot, not what you consciously pretend to be for a few minutes. This field is not cruel, it is precise, and that is why you continue to repeat cycles despite all attempts to change. The problem has never been the technique. The problem is that you are trying to plant new seeds in a vibrational soil that has not been reprogrammed. This is the invisible code, and it is hidden in your reactions, in the way you handle silence, criticism, uncertainty, the little frustrations of daily life. All of this is telling reality who you really are, not with words, but with frequency. But now, with the awareness of this, everything changes, because what once controlled you is now visible, and everything that is seen can be transformed. In the next step, you will not only notice your set point, you will reprogram it, not with force, but with energetic intelligence. You will rebuild your basic pattern so that it vibrates in tune with the reality you desire, in a stable, authentic, and permanent way. Vibrational reprogramming. How to change the field irreversibly. When you start paying attention to your vibrational set point, something inside you changes. The light bulb turns on. You realize that no matter how much you consciously desire something, if your energetic base still vibrates scarcity, fear, or insecurity, nothing moves. But now you have the key to change it permanently. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and visualize your future self, the one who has already overcome limitations, who has already achieved what now seems far away. See how this version of you walks. Notice the rhythm of your breathing, the tone of your voice, the way you look at the world. Feel the energy of this being who is already where you want to be. Now embody that you, not as a character, but as a frequency. Breathe like him, think like him, react like him. This is not a game of imagination, it is a hermetic code of vibrational reprogramming that Thoth called alignment with the image of light. According to the most ancient teachings, the ideal self already exists in the field of probability, and the only way to bring it into reality is to become it now. By doing this every day, even for just a few minutes, you begin to shift your base field. And when that happens, what seemed stuck begins to move. Situations that were stuck open up. People appear. Paths reveal themselves. Because your field no longer emits a frequency of lack, but of presence. And here's the crux. The universe doesn't respond to whoever it wants. It responds to whoever is already vibrating as if it were. It's like changing the radio station. As long as you're on the old frequency, you hear nothing but static. But the moment you turn the dial, everything falls into place. The signal becomes clear, the messages come through. Reality responds. But that's just the beginning, because now you start to notice something even deeper. You're not just reprogramming your field, you're starting to touch the fields of others, and that's when the real magic begins. You think of someone and they call you, you talk about a project, and suddenly an unexpected opportunity appears. You feel something, and instantly the outside world reflects that feeling. It's not coincidence, it's direct synchronicity. This phenomenon was already known in the time of Thoth. He called it transmission between spheres, a wisdom that later echoed among the mystics of many cultures. Rupert Sheldrake in the 20th century called it morphogenetic field. Modern physics studies it as quantum entanglement, but the name does not matter. What matters is that you now know that your field touches other fields all the time, and more. Everything you feel, think, and vibrate is shaping not only your life, but the invisible network around you. What you call chance, synchronicity, luck, is only the reflection of the vibration you have emitted before you even realized it. That is why the more you enter this state of coherence, the more reality begins to reorganize around you, as if time were bending, as if events were rushing to meet you, as if something beyond logic began to guide you with surgical precision. This intelligence is not external, it is the very structure of creation. And now that you have begun to activate it, there is a next step that few know about: the state of magnetic presence, a vibrational level in which the world stops resisting and begins to conspire in your favor. From the moment you begin to wear your frequency like a second skin, something changes in the air. And it is not a metaphor. Your energy becomes so aligned that it speaks before your mouth even opens. People look at you differently without knowing why. Rooms fall silent, as if the space itself respects your presence. This is the effect of magnetic presence. It is not charisma, it is not acting. It is a field organized in absolute coherence. The initiates knew this. Thoth taught that true spiritual authority does not need words. When the field is whole, it emits a vibration that restructures the environment without effort, without conflict, without control. Transformation occurs through resonance. What is outside naturally bows to what vibrates with greater consciousness. And if you understand this, you understand everything. This state is not achieved by trying to appear to be a better person. It only arises when you align yourself internally, when your thoughts do not fight your emotions, when your breath is not disconnected from your intention, when you stop wanting something like someone waiting and start feeling like someone who already is. Imagine walking into a room without saying a word and still being perceived. Imagine talking to someone and, without convincing them, that person walks away transformed. Imagine living with such coherence that the external chaos no longer has a place to cling. This is not magic. It is vibrational science applied with presence. And that presence is not a technique, it is a state that can be accessed at any time, but that few claim because they do not know how to anchor it in daily life, because the world will try to take you back. It will provoke you, distract you, demand. And that is why you need the final code now, the one that makes all of this possible in everyday life, without relying on retreats, rituals, or special moments. The final code is not a hidden secret kept by priests in distant temples. It is here, now, and it begins with 5 pillars that are as simple as they are transformational: breath, intention, visualization, emotion, and presence. These are the elements that keep your magnetic field alive, in constant alignment with the reality you have chosen to create. Breath is the anchor, intention is the steering wheel, visualization is the map, emotion is the fuel, presence is the path itself. Use this in everything. Don't limit meditation to artificial quiet moments. Transform every act into contemplative practice, walking, talking, working, even in digital interactions. Be the architect of your presence through intentional breathing, the anchor in the flow, active focus, the inner compass, precise visualization, the energetic blueprint, emotional attunement, the language of the soul. When this presence becomes constant, your morphogenetic field comes into full activity. Then the inevitable happens: synchronicities that defy probability, solutions that precede problems, miracles that become everyday language, not by coercion, but by perfect resonance. Thoth engraved this truth in the emerald tablets in scientific, not mystical language. The principle "as above, so below" is not a metaphor, but a cosmic equation. The universe is not a referee, but a perfect mirror. It responds not to what you ask, but to what you emanate. If these words have ignited an ancestral memory in you, an echo of forgotten truth, then act now. Click that like not as a simple gesture, but as an energetic seal on the map of your evolution. Write "I am the code" in the comments, transforming those 3 words into a mantra that resonates beyond the screen, joining the ranks of those who are rewriting the rules of reality. Subscribe to the channel, making this act not a banal subscription, but a true pact between initiates, a knot in the invisible network of those who have chosen to vibrate beyond the matrix. because every action of yours today is no longer a simple movement. It is a rite of passage, an alchemical affirmation. The universe is recording. You, in the meantime, have just sent your first conscious signal. Because the awakened one no longer seeks evidence, he emanates it. And you, keeper of this ancient vibrational key, have just turned on a new level of the game. May every breath from now on be a creative equation, every heartbeat a silent command to space-time. We will meet, not by chance but by resonance, exactly at the point where your field has already begun to bend reality. See you soon beyond the looking glass.